everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our live stream and wherever you're watching around the world. My name's Christina Poncher. We're happy to have you here with us to kick off our Fight Week press conference. Ramon, back to the other Texas contingent, but this time San Antonio, Texas, right, from Fort Worth to San Antonio. For you, getting an opportunity like this, what was that moment like when you got that phone call?
I mean, really, first things first, I want to thank my manager, Michael Miller, my promoter, Samson Lekowitz, and his beautiful wife, and ProWax as well, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. So first things first, I want to thank them, my coach as well, Joel Diaz. But other than that, I mean, it was just a normal conversation with my manager. He had called me, and I had just finished buying some food.
A normal call.
Normal call, and then we were talking about something else, and then he told me, hey, would you like to fight Inoue? I said, yeah, that's a fight that I'd been telling you I wanted. And then he said, okay, May 4th. And I was like, oh, like, you serious? He's like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, of course. So then we took the fight, and now we're here.
And how long of training camp? When was that when you got that phone call?
I got that phone call maybe like a week after my fight.
Let's go.
So I was already like locked back in. Yeah.
Hey, well, shout out to ProBox though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's like
sure.
that platform has been great. Yeah.
They've been putting me on, and I'm thankful for them, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have this opportunity.
And I know that you're a fight fan. You watch boxing even when you're not fighting, not only studying your opponent, but the guys around your weight class and boxing from years past. For you to have the opportunity to fight on this weekend, right, to represent where you're from, to get another shot at fighting for a world title, is this a dream come true for you?
Yes, because I remember, the first 24/7, De La Hoya and, what was it, Mayweather? I remember watching them, and then I remember, like, wanting to be here. So fighting for a world title, I said it earlier, fighting for world title is one thing, but fighting for undisputed is it's more than I could ever ask for, and it makes me hungry. It makes me, like, want it more.
I mean, you're sitting up here in front of every single one of these belts.
Yes, I still haven't looked at them because they're not mine yet.
I respect that. I respect that. But when you do look at the fight, I'm sure you sit there and you envision, like most fighters do, how they see the fights going, different scenarios of how they could see this playing out. What's the thing that constantly comes to mind when you think about your fight?
I mean, more than anything, I know it's going to be a tough fight. I know Inoue is one of the pound-for-pound greats, but I'm ready for that. I'm ready for the toughest fight of my career. Like I've been saying it all camp. Everybody asked me the same, what do you picture? I was like, I picture a hard fight. But I also picture myself, coming out there and doing my thing and showing, the world who I am.
Joel Diaz in your corner is like, a secret weapon. He's not really a secret to those of us in the boxing world that know him, but he has been on this stage before. He's been in the big fights. The relationship that you have with him, the trust that he has put in you, that your sparring partners, the guys that he's brought in, how much confidence and what has he meant to for you to get you ready for this big moment?
I mean, for me, it's that group of people right there mean the world to me, because again, maybe 5 fights ago, I wasn't in this position at all. I was like, everyone knows my story. I was doing a lift, trying to make ends meet and stuff. And, now I'm able to focus fully on boxing. And so I owe it to them. You know what I mean? I owe it to that group of people right there. And now it's just finishing the mission. I lost an uncle on the way to this journey. I lost a trainer as well. And, now I'm 2 days away of accomplishing my dream, accomplishing the mission. So that's my plan.
I mentioned it yesterday when I was doing some of my preparation for this and for the fight. Joel was talking about your first couple of fights that you fought. You fought for, soda, a couple tacos, a pair of shoes. You were just that kind of guy that's like, doesn't matter what it is, because this is not the end goal. This is just the beginning. I'll fight for whatever it is. And now you have an opportunity to fight for undisputed. Yeah. I'm sure the biggest check of your life, but it still strikes me that you're the type of fighter that's like, I'm doing this for the glory, I'm not doing this for anyone else that's like, oh, golden ticket. I've seen that word floated around a bunch, this promotion, but you just don't strike me as that type of person.
No, because for me, the money can go. We've had world champions and legends that have millions and millions of dollars, but then they end up, they end up broke. But those titles right there, no one would ever be able to take that away from me. Even 100 years from now, they'll remember my name because I was one of the undisputed world champions. So, that ultimately that's my goal. The money, if I really wanted money, I can go get a 9-to-5 job. I've said this before, I can go get a 9-to-5 job. It's not going to pay the same, but instead of getting my head hit and stuff like that, I could just go get a 9-to-5. But that's what it's about right there, and that's what I want.
In closing for you, Ramon, why should people run to the sports book tomorrow night and throw $100 on Ramon Cardenas?
Because boxing is beautiful. and no one knows like the full story of everything. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not coming to collect a check, and that right there makes me dangerous. You know, if I was here to collect a check, I would just I wouldn't show up. But I'm here, and I'm here to win, and you know, my team believes in me, my family believes in me, and I'm just excited. You know, I want to thank also Mr. Inoue and his team for really accepting the fight, and let's give fans a fight on the Sunday.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it. Truly appreciate your time. Did you translate all that to him so he knew everything that Ramon said? No. Appreciate you, Nobu. They've kept you busy this week. Champ, we see this hardware up here. We see these belts that you've earned, undisputed status. You came here to Las Vegas twice before this, now your third time to wrap up training camp here. How did this camp compare to some of the others you've had in the past?
そうですね、前回、前々回というのはコロナ禍で、パンデミックの中での試合だったので、今回この T モバイルアリーナで試合をするということがまず今回一番違いだと思います。
The last two times I was here in Vegas, it was during the pandemic, and I had to train accordingly. But this time I'm fighting at the T-Mobile, and I think that's the biggest difference.
And you'll be fighting in front of the largest crowd that you've had here in the States. You fought in the States 3 times, but this time at T-Mobile. Have you thought about the energy that might give you? Different than the Tokyo Dome, but a U.S. audience nonetheless. Are you excited about that?
アメリカでのこれだけの大きな会場で試合ができるというのは自分自身すごくモチベーションもありますけども、当日シンコデマヨという日で、試合をするということで当日の、試合の雰囲気というのはちょっと分からずアウェーになるかもというちょっと予想もしているのでどんな雰囲気の中で試合をするのか非常に楽しみです。
I'm very motivated to fight in front of an American crowd in a big arena like this, but fighting on a Cinco de Mayo weekend, I feel that I am fighting an away game.
Okay.
So I don't know what to expect.
I've never thought about it in that sort of way, but I'm sure you have fans all over the world. You're going to get a chance to see that come Sunday. Yeah. You said that you would like to put on an impressive boxing performance for those fans. What does that look like come Sunday?
一つ望むのであればしっかりとボクシングを見せた上で中盤ノックアウトというのは自分の中でも、一番いい形の試合の終わらせ方というのは想定してますが、まず日本で見せているパフォーマンスというのを一番に考えてアメリカのお客さんの前でしっかりとボクシングを、お届けしたいと思います。
Well, first of all, the ideal situation is to show the American fans my boxing and win with a knockout. But more than anything else, I want everyone to see that what they have not been able to see live in Japan here in the U.S.
For you, you've given a lot of respect every interview to Ramon. You talked about him being a well-rounded puncher, how he has an excellent lead punch, that he's tough. Does he remind you of any of your opponents that you've had in the past, or does he pose unique challenges?
似た選手というのは自分の中では考えにくいですけども非常にまとまった選手であると思うので当日は非常に自分にとってもすごくいいボクシングができるんじゃないかなと期待しています。
You know, a similar fighter, it's hard to say, but he's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think it's a good platform to show my boxing.
Does it bother you when other people talk about other opponents because of the amount of respect that you do have for Ramon?
他の選手との試合っていうのを
I announcing future fights and such, you know?
No.
No, the answer was no. That doesn't bother him.
I spoke to Nonito Donaire, and he talked about how special of a fighter that you are. Your opponents have talked about your speed, your power, your movement, all the things that make you difficult. But what would you say is your greatest attribute?
パワーというものをすごく言われがちですけども、ディフェンスだったり距離感だったり当て感だったりというものが自分の中では一番、突出しているのかなっていうのは思いますね。
A lot of people talk about power, but the defense, the distance, and the timing is something that I believe is also very important.
Defense, distance, and time. Yeah, very much so. I would tend to agree with that. And before we let you go, I just wanted to ask you, in your last fight against Yi Jun Kim, there was a moment before the fight ended where he kind of encouraged you to come forward. And then not too long after that, the fight was over. Did that make you want to stop him in that moment? Or that was just the opening that presented itself?
そうですね。ちょっとイラッとしましたけども、はい。瞬時に倒してなっていうのは思いましたね。
Yes, it upset me a little bit, and at that point, yeah, it's like I'm going to knock this guy out.
Okay, so don't do that. Okay, none of the. Yeah, you don't want to fire him up any more than that. Look, I know you guys have been doing a ton of interviews all week long. I'll give you a chance really quick to let everybody know, to your fans watching in Japan, to tune in on the.
日本で試合を見られる方に一言。
はい、当日は、プライムビデオでのお昼頃の観戦と、なると思いますけども、アメリカでの試合を、期待して、応援してくれたら嬉しいと思います。
In Japan, it'll be noon, and everybody watching in Japan, please watch my fight.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Tomo arigatou gozaimasu. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching. We're going to pose off our fighters now. Don't forget to tune in to our fight, of course, buy tickets, all that good stuff. May 4th, it's going down from the T-Mobile Arena and live on ESPN. Let's face off our fighters now. Evan, you ready? All right. Muchas gracias. Thank you, guys.
Just Rafa and Edward Inoue, Cardenas, 1 second. No.